Daylight breaks over the ridge. The hounds strike. No crowds, no cameras, just a track and the hounds that bring the story to life. That's what this show's about. Dogs, dirt roads, early mornings, and the people who live it. This is Creekside Chronicles. Hounds, hunting, and heritage. I am your host, Heath Hyatt, houndsman, hunter, and a lifelong student of the outdoors. Here, we chase more than game. We chase knowledge about hounds, hunting, and living the outdoor life the right way. From bear country to back roads, this is where the hunt meets heart, and every story runs a different trail. So pull up your chair by the creek, leash up your best hound, and let's get after it together. Performance starts in the feed. Inukshuk's high-fat content fuels long runs and hard hunts, giving dogs the steady energy they need, while quality protein supports faster recovery after the work is done. That's why I trust Inukshuk dog food. Packed with energy and nutrition dogs need to go further, run harder, and recover stronger. If you want extreme performance, you can look them up at Inukshuk Professional Dog Food or CoreyNutrition.com.
All right, so after the Art of Packing podcast dropped a week and a half ago, sorry we didn't get to do this back to back. We couldn't get our P's and Q's together. But a good friend, George Lambert, made a post, and that post kind of it blew up. You know, people talking about it, comments, advice, tips, things they did wrong, things they did right. And George made a post about putting the dogs out of the truck onto a track. And I know in the podcast I literally just talked about some very basic. I talked about three basic things. I talked about face packing, which is an ultimate sin, I think. He talked about T-boning it. Yeah. And then we talked about the follow-up. And then, George kind of reiterated that. Well, when George dropped that post, I'm like, holy cow. I left out so much information. So George is taking his evening, and we're going to talk about the stuff that we left out. So you're getting a part 2 of the Art of Packing.
And it's a never-ending rabbit hole that we'll probably, we'll talk about it here 20, 30, 40 minutes and still not cover everything, I'm sure.
No. And I always say this. You guys have heard me say it on the podcast. Above my office door, I've got ABL, and it means always be learning. And when I was working the road and my shift coming in and out, that's when they walked out of my office, that's what they saw. ABL, ABL, ABL. And I think, especially with hounds, I am, and with dogs in general, because I'm doing a separate thing besides hounds. I learn something every time, and it may not be something that maybe it's not something I didn't know, but maybe it's something I didn't know about that dog. My pack's very particular. I can, we talked about it, George. This dog I can do this with. This dog I can do that with.
Yeah.
These two dogs together do this. I can't send this one this way. So I'm always learning. I'm either learning about the dog or learning about the hunt. But it's it's a never ending process. Don't matter what you're doing, it's never ending. And then the time you figure that dog out, they're 10 or 12, and then you start all over again.
Yeah. Or you're like me and you got a whole pack full of young dogs and you're trying, it just makes you scratch your head. Because you said, this is the stuff we talk about is a rule of thumb, but each individual dog and each individual circumstance takes, it's a different, it requires something different each time.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the behavior, especially in the, I'll use the detection world with law enforcement, the detection behaviors that I'm looking for and that I'm shaping, those behaviors, I see a lot of the same behaviors out of a lot of different dogs, but there's 50,000 ways to get to those behaviors. All right, how do I get this dog to end up here? You know, we're taking multiple interstates to get to this little country road because that's where I want to end up, right? Like, it's tough. So, but George, how was your season? I know you and I talked about it, but how was your season in general?
So overall, we had a better season than what I expected, and I think it basically goes back to we had excellent crop. We had a lot of feed, white oaks, red oaks, everything that produced did really well pretty much this year. So that all led up to keeping, honestly, some of the, our season is out in Virginia now, but there's still some bear out, I'm sure. I've heard of some people even, still seeing them cross the roads and stuff. So, saying all that, we had a great season. Most days we treat one, a lot of days we treat two bear. Pretty much every day we treat at least one. So good season.
So you're in the area where they shut down the season for the first 3 weeks. What did you see out of that? Good, bad? What was your thoughts and just in general, what come of that?
So honestly, you'll hear a lot of different opinions on that season shutdown, but I was pretty much on board with it from the start. And due to we had such, the mange did affect us pretty bad in this area. So long story short, that I was going back. So I pulled for this from the start and took a lot of flack for it. And, but overall, I am loving seeing the results we're seeing. And if we go through another year of this, our population is going to be, it's going to be back to hopefully normal. We'll see. Now, mange wise, I caught one that had a possibly mange in kill season, and caught one or two in chase season. So I'm hoping we're over that hump, and I'm hoping we're good to go from here. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm definitely I don't know if guys in general are just keeping it more quiet because of that, because they did shut down the season, but I did not hear a lot of chatter about it. We always, in training season, we always catch a bear or two that from halfway down his back and his hind end are bald, or it's really thin. Like that happens. Like it seems like it happens every year. We catch one or two, and the same thing happened this year. We caught two that had a lot of hair off its rear end, or really thinning. But other than that, we didn't see it. Of course, we're way south of you, but I didn't hear a lot of chatter about it. So let's hope and pray that we're moving in the right direction.
I mean, I didn't hardly see any mange, nothing with confirmed mange, and I also did see a pile of cubs. During the month of December, we treed roughly 5 sets of what I feel like was different, and each set had 2 cubs, So a sow and 2 cubs with each set. And then I think me and you was talking about it earlier. One interesting thing that I did catch this year was multiple times I caught a sow with 2 cubs, and she had a yearling. Like when I say yearling, I'm talking like anywhere from a 60 to 80 pound, a young male bear that was hanging around with her, which was interesting. I'm just throwing that in there. That really has no, but yeah,
but it was interesting how you said that come about. Like that bear was literally with the sow and cubs, or literally right in the same. Like when you say the same area, it was like right there.
Yeah. Well, I'll take a minute and explain it. So one day the dogs went down and just popped up the sow and the cubs, and had a split off that, and I noticed the dog that was running. It was one of my older dogs that split. Actually, I'd done sold it to one of my buddies. But anyway, long story short, dog circled the mountain, come right back to the sow and cubs twice, and finally treat it. And I thought that was, I was like, what in the world is this little male bear doing right here with this sow and cubs? And why does he keep coming back to him? Didn't think a whole lot about it. And then just a couple days later, we was hunting in that same area, and treated that same sow and cubs, and the dogs they made a little half-mile chase or something and treed, and one of the dogs went about 100 more yards and treed, and it was the sow and cubs, and then in the other tree it was that little yearling male bear again. So yeah, I don't know, that was interesting. I'd never seen that before.
No, that's definitely not typical, right?
Yeah.
Not typical. And I'm with you. Like, we've tried really hard not to harvest sows because of we're trying to grow the population, but we treat a lot of sows and cubs. Same thing as you. I know that 2 different times we treat a sow with 2 cubs. We treat a sow with the 1 cub, and a couple times we had split races. And I don't know if everybody looks at it the same, but like if I'm going up a holler and my dogs strike together and they take off running, and all of a sudden, like you said, one splits off, or I got 2 or 3 dogs split and go one way, and the other one splits and goes the other way. Normally, that is a sow, and it could be a sow and a yearling because that's happened, or sow and cubs. And we had that happen several times this year where we had ended up with 2 races off of 1 strike.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it was very promising. Like
I mean, it's the perfect example is why we let these sows go. I mean, like I say, that, you know, if I count them 2, which I know that was the same, so that's not counted in, but I feel like we treat 5 separate sets. So, I mean, look at how many bear they added, because like I say, each set had 2 cubs. I mean, that is just proof in the pudding why we try our best not to harvest sows, let them things go.
Yeah. And I know we're going to get into it later, but, you know, there's a management part of that too. Like there's a management part of, you know, harvesting. So, all right, well, let's get into the packing. So you posted about the dogs coming off the tailgate and off a bear that crossed the road and, you know, going backwards. And man, there was a lot of good comments. You know, I think for me, and sometimes, you know, we get, like I said it in the podcast about it, like our emotions and our adrenaline pops, and like it's like hurry, drop a tailgate, open the box. Like, you know, we're not really like slowing down and thinking it through. It's like bam, it's 0 to 100 and we gone. I feel like the best way to take care of that problem is do it one by one. And then somebody made several comments about that. Like, you take one out, you send them. You take another one out, you send them. I think a lot of that has to do with box setup. And do you have, like, I know a lot of the guys only had, like, especially the guys want to hunt down east, they only got one door. One door, right. Everything comes out that door. There's no, you know, my dogs are separated and so on and so forth. But, you know, I think a lot goes into that. And I think that would be the proper way to manage the chaos.
Oh, absolutely.
Control the chaos. But yeah,
you know, but even going into that though, you know, I have had times where I've supposedly did it half the correct way or whatever you want to say. You let one go, he barks going the right direction. You turn around to let another one go. You let that second one go, and all of a sudden you see that first dog coming back, you know, and you're like, what in the world? And then, of course, then the second dog you just turn loose joins in with that first dog, and then a minute later you got both of them going the wrong direction.
Yeah, and you made a very valid point about the amount of odor. And as I was feeding this evening, and because I knew you and I were going to talk, you know, like I'm thinking, you know, 25 years ago, when I didn't know nothing about odor, I turned dogs loose. They went or they didn't go, or if they went backwards, they turned around. Like, it was not this complicated. And now that every time something happens, I'm trying to process it and think about it and analyze it. And I'm way more conscious of, you know, the barometric pressure and so on and so forth, whatever. But you made a very valid point about like the amount of odor and we talk about the odor not settling because every time you turn a dog loose or a dog runs behind that bear, every dog you add to that equation changes the scent picture every millisecond. Like every millisecond that changes. And when you stir up that much odor, a lot of times it's hard for the dogs to sift through it, if that makes sense. So, like you said, there's a scent cone that goes back behind us that's got odor everywhere. And I mean, it's got, like I said, it's got dog and bear, and it's got leaves turned up and sticks run over. It's got all the stuff that you want. And a lot of times when a dog is not in a calm state of mind like that, it's good. That's the easiest route.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and that scent picture, I think a lot of people don't understand that scent picture between the dogs going through it. It just taking an extra minute for it to disperse. I fully believe the scent picture is bigger backwards for, I don't know the exact timing wise, but for that first initial few minutes, that scent picture is definitely bigger, wider, stronger, the wrong direction.
Well, like I said, because all that odor's been stirred up, and now when it's crossed you, like when it's in front of you, or past you, like it's forming. How do you put this? It's forming its trail or tail. What I like to explain to my guys is and I think I've said it on this podcast, like I have done this in my basic canine schools with tracking. I get a huge backpack and I fill it full of peanut popcorn, the popcorn, that packing popcorn, right? And I unzip it halfway and I start walking through a parking lot. And that odor, them popcorn, they go everywhere, like everywhere. Right. They don't just follow me. And then I have somebody walk behind me and it moves the popcorn again. And then I have another person walk behind them and then it moves the popcorn again. So to put a visual with it, that's what you're trying to explain. Like, exactly. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have the adrenaline rush and the excitement and all that. I mean, it's not abnormal, even though it still makes me aggravated. It's not abnormal for a dog, even a older, experienced dog. It's not abnormal for it to go the wrong ways. And then, man, if you got a kind of like you were saying, the T-bone situation, I mean, more times than not, they're going to go the wrong way.
Well,
if I can, I usually done got to where I'll just take a few extra minutes and try to walk that 100 yards, 200 yards and get them to go the right way if it's worth doing. The bad thing is if you're that close to the road, by the time you walk all the way down there, then they liable to done cross the road out in front of you, or something. Who knows? But
so, and that was another topic that you and I, like I said, you and I, sometimes we take things for granted because we just, it's just, all right, we've been here, done this 50 million times, and we just go on about it. But let's put that in perspective. And I didn't talk about it. So when you're turning a dog into a race, that dog's going from, and usually by the time we turn him into it, that race is either past us or it's leaving us. Is that agreeable?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna teach this in a canine fashion, like a police canine fashion, on a building search. Okay. When I'm doing a building search, I am asking my dog to go find odor. Like, go find it. Like, I need you to go in this building and find the odor. They have not acquired the odor when I turn them loose. But when I'm tracking, when I'm on a track, my dog has already acquired the odor and is trailing it or tracking it, however you want to, whatever terminology you want to use. So when we turn our dogs into a race or a trail, the dogs are going from no odor to I have to go get the odor. I have to go find it. So it's not like it's just right there and they can just pick up the trail and go. And a lot of times just as we just talked. You turn them into that race, and that race is already, like I said, very seldom do you get to put them right on top of it.
Right.
But they're going to it, and they hit the odor on the T-bone, on the T-bone, or like they hit it, and the strongest odor, and dogs use generalization a lot, and I don't, that's another term that we use a lot, but I'm going to go this way because that's where it's strongest, and it may not be the strongest bear odor.
Right.
There's where people kind of get sidetracked. Like, that don't mean they're running the bear odor backwards. They're just going with the largest amount of odor because it's the easiest to follow.
Yes.
That's what, and even on a face pack, anytime you pack a dog that's not like crossing your path,
right?
Like, the dogs have to go search for that odor, or they're going, a lot of dogs, like I've got one dog that she don't search for odor. She going to the dog.
Yeah.
Like, she going to the dog. So she's a little easier to pack. Like, she's a little bit,
absolutely.
Like, I know when I turn her loose, I can turn her that way. She's going the other way. Like, she's going to where the dog's barking is where she's going. So, and we all have dogs that way, and we have dogs that are more track minded. We got dogs that are more independent. So, yeah, there is so much stuff that goes in with that we didn't even hit the iceberg with it.
No. And then you throw in the monkey wrench with me. I'm packing around a pile of dogs typically. I'm hunting a lot of dogs. So I typically have one or two either older dogs or slow dogs or something. I'm trying to pack these fast, blistering fast front dogs, and then the dogs I'm trying to pack in hear my old dogs coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then they end up going, they don't know. And so it's easy to get aggravated at them, but they're going to them dogs. It's just the wrong set.
Yeah. So, and I mean, again, that's knowing your dogs. And then you come into the question, all right, do I wait for the back dogs? And if I wait for the back dogs, I know I'm going to be 200, 300, 400 yards behind, like whatever it may be. I mean, sometimes it's half a mile.
Yeah.
I've had dogs before that are extremely slow. Because they don't pick their head up and run. They're still trailing that jump track. So yeah, then you're like, okay, do I pack here? Because if I do, and those dogs come in behind, they're going. So what happens? Jordan, let me ask you this. So if you pack that way, and those old dogs are coming, do they go to the old dogs and blow past them going the other way? Or do they get up with them and then they turn and come the right way?
So here's what typically happens with mine. Usually when I'm packing in, I'm trying to pack a good fast dog, and then one that will roll on. So usually with me, it happens they'll blow right past them old dogs and they'll go another half mile or whatever the wrong direction. No, that's dog dependent. I got a couple that will turn with the old dogs and come on, but a lot of mine, they're so independent that once they hit that scent odor, they've already heard a dog barking. They're going to that. They hit scent. They're just going to roll on, going whatever way they're headed that time, which will drive you crazy.
Yeah, and something else, like, each to his own. But the more that I like, especially in my canine world, dogs are cheaters, and I tell my canine guys this all the time. Like, I like to switch up who goes first when we're doing searches, because after the first 2 or 3 dogs put their odor, like they touch the wall with their nose, or a drawer, or what they do. Those other dogs don't even start. They don't even search. They really quickly they go around to where that dog spent time, and there's a lot of canine odor. I believe more and more that I see this, I believe in our hound world that we are running dog odor more than we are running the game of choice.
Oh yeah. And sometimes that's an advantage, and sometimes it ain't. I was thinking today when we said we was going to do this, I was thinking about a couple different scenarios of packing in that I've had over the last year or two. And another one that I was thinking about is we was actually in North Carolina one day, and I was up in the woods. It's actually me and the cousin. We had the dogs just rolling on a track, bringing it to the road. Some of the North Carolina guys, of course, they don't know my dogs very good. Mm-hmm. They pulled up. They did not see the bear, but they did see my dogs fly across the road. So of course they pulled up real fast, dumped the tailgate. Dogs just started running around like, what in the world's going on? Yeah, there was no bear track there, and that adds the other thing is, and I had to get on the radio, talk to them, and I'd be like, hey, I've got an old dog coming. He's going to cross the road about 100 yards farther. That's where the track is. You know, the front dogs they're not crossing on the track.
They were running. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They just drift the track real bad. You know, they're fast dogs and they just drift the track back and forth. And it just so happened where they crossed the road, you know, was 100 yards from the bear track. You know, even though as soon as they crossed, they got right back on it. Mm-hmm. But boy, if you don't understand that will throw you for a loop at times and make all kinds of a mess.
Well, I mean, it's happened to me. I've had a couple young dogs bring bear across the road that were young and you didn't know, and they were running 50 yards off the track.
Right.
I mean, you know, in the snow last year, I had one of my, you know, she wasn't but 14 months, 15 months old. And she come through there screaming. And I mean, I seen her cross the road. I did exactly what you're saying. I seen her cross the road and I'm like, she didn't even stop and look at me. Like, I know whatever she was running, she was, you know, on it.
Right.
And I got out and I started walking the road, and that track was probably good 30 yards behind me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then everybody packed her and she brought it back across the road, and they ended up treating it up in, like, you know, right up in the holler. But yeah, I mean, and dogs do run off. They, you know, that scent picture or that scent cone when they're running, like it's expanded tremendously. So.
Oh yeah. Well, and then like I say, I've got a couple dogs that will drift the track really bad. Like they'll drift it to the extreme on both sides. You know, so when they're running as fast as they can, if that bear makes a cut, they could easily be 100, 150 yards off the track before they get it straightened out and lined out, you know, and going on. Mm-hmm. Which I don't like them to maybe drift the track that far, but that will catch you a lot of bear, you know, depending on the bear itself. And then another scenario I was thinking about that just crazy on throw you off. So I remember a year or two ago, we was up in Maine and dogs was coming to the road, and we was sitting facing like north watching. And then so out of the passenger side mirror, see the bear cross, you know, to the south behind the truck. Mm-hmm. So of course, just so in the passenger side mirror, see the bear go behind the truck. So of course, don't even look for the bear anymore. Just jerk open the door, run around, drop the tailgate. Every single dog wants to go the way that we just seen that bear come from. So, I mean, we're raising a fuss, trying to get the dogs to go the right way. Finally ended up having to catch tone dogs, get them back. Could not get them to go the right way. They just would not go the right way. You know, the way I'm making it sounds like it took forever to do this, but this was literally like 30 seconds. So then one of the other guys that they was actually there on a guided hunt. And so he didn't know much about dogs or whatever. He had been standing up the road a little ways, and he talked to us. He's like, what are y'all guys doing? And, you know, he's like, no, the bear turned and went back the other way. And it come to find out we'd seen the bear in the mirror, you know, he come out in the road and then he turned and went right back. And here we're trying to force these dogs to go where there is no scent. Yeah. And the bear went right back on his track. So that made me think of another scenario. I mean, how do you figure out a bear that goes back on his track? And I know the way I have to do it is I got to get all the dogs back in the truck, got to get them to settle down, and then let one of the old dogs that was originally running the track, just let it figure it out, get it straightened out. And then, you either take a chance with a couple of your dogs that you know will go with the old dog, or you just hold all them dogs till you get another chance or whatever, But yeah, stuff like that happens.
Yep. I mean that happened to me we were down on the coast last year, and the bear literally come out to the hood of my truck and turned and went back, but I was on the radio. Well, it circled and went right back behind me, and I didn't see it. And that, I mean, same exact thing. And then you talk about I've got two dogs that most of the time, if the bear comes to the road and pops right back in, that's a cluster. If you start
Right.
taking dogs there, half of them or more than half of them going backwards every
Oh,
time. Like,
yeah.
just guys, that's experience. It happens.
It happens.
I've got two dogs that I'm like you. I got two dogs particularly that I can throw down, and they're going to come out with it right.
Right.
And I let them get out of there or away from there before I even try to pack. And
Oh,
it depends
yeah.
on where it's at. I just, maybe I have to, I have to wait. Those two dogs are absolutely capable of treeing bear themselves, so I don't have to
Right.
load them up. But yes, exactly. Yeah, you're right. And one of the other things, I'm pretty sure it was on his post. I know you and I talked about it. Was somebody was talking about rigging and how every time they put the dogs down, they go behind. They're behind the truck. I think that was on that. That was one of somebody that posted.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just tell you some dog science here. So I call that the 1 second rule when I'm training guys. So when the dog picks up odor and it goes through their nose, through their olfactory system, and hits the back lobe of their brain, which is where it computes, it takes about a second. So when if I'm running a wall and my dog's sniffing, what happens is he goes past it and I get a hard head turn. The dog squares up and then starts bracketing, looking for that scent cone. On the trucks are moving at I'm walking with my dog here. Okay. So that's why I call it the 1 second rule. But on the truck, the dogs may pick up an odor in front of the truck up on the ridge or however. But the majority of the time, they always going to go backwards because by the time they get it, runs through their system, they process it, and they open their mouth. If you're driving any speed at all, you've already passed where it was at.
Right.
So when somebody said that, I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's the 1 second rule. Like it takes a dog a second to process this. And if I'm like you've heard me say, and I know George and you and I talked about it, like when I'm rigging, I like to drive about 10 miles an hour.
Right.
Like, I'm taking my time. Like I am just poking along, like driving Miss Daisy. I am not in a hurry. That allows my dogs to really take inventory of the surroundings.
Right. Right.
Now I can drive at 25, absolutely. And if I've got a very dense bear population, I'm going to run across enough odor eventually where I get the desired result. But for me, I want my dogs taking as much of it in as they can. And when I'm driving any faster than that, like we've all been driving down the road at 55 miles an hour and the box blow up. Like we've all had that happen. I was driving down the interstate last year and the interstate and my dog. But yeah, I mean, to think about it scientifically and how the dog anatomy actually works, like it's got to go through the nose, it's got to go through the olfactory system, and if you Google it or look it up, I mean, it goes through a lot of twists and turns, and then it goes back, back into the back lobe of the brain where it's processed, and then once it gets to there, the dog's got to be like, oh, I need to open my mouth, so
Right.
the faster you drive, you're cutting down on your probability. Unless you have a dense population. Like I said, my dogs are not the coldest nosed dogs. So I'm going to try to give them every advantage that I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whoever posted that was a great observation. I think I put on there. It's a great observation. And there is a reason why they're always behind. I mean, one, you're in a vehicle and you're moving, but there's a part of the dog anatomy that goes into it too.
Well, one of the guys, I can't remember who it was or what, but they posted. I mean, like it's similar to us driving over a skunk in the road.
Skunk. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I never thought of the skunk analogy, but that was that was a good one.
Yeah, but okay, so let's flip it around. How many times, for me, like how many times have I been at a red light and I can smell somebody smoking 2 cars in front of me?
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm stationary for one, and that odor is coming to me. Like it's coming to me. So the same thing with the bear. Like, yeah, you can get a bear in front of you. You can catch the odor. We're not saying any of that, but theoretically and statistically speaking, the more you're going to have them on, you're going to go to the rear more so than not.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's on good tracks, and even the older tracks. I got a couple dogs that they'll rig an older track, and I think it was me and you was talking about that. Even it takes a minute also for that truck to stir up the odor.
Well, yes, and somebody, I don't remember when this was or who was talking about it, but they were asking me if there was a line of trucks going down the road. We talked about this because you're horse trailer.
Right.
Where do you want to be at in that line for the dogs to strike? Like first truck, second truck, third truck? Me personally, I want to be in the front. That's me. Because like we said, the hood of my truck, the windshield, the cab of my truck is all changing that scent picture. And then once you get to the second truck, my truck's already went through it. Now, my truck may have stirred that odor up that was very stale, and your dogs may hit it and mine didn't. Like that's always a possibility. But for me to put the odds in my favor, I personally want to be in front.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So, like I said, you and I both said, like there's times you just put them up. We're not doing any good here.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else on the packing? I mean, I know we're not having a lot more conversation than this, but
yeah, I'm sure we could probably go into it over and over, but I don't want people they'll be clicking the off button on your show.
No, I mean it is. I mean, like it's an art, like it really is, and to be successful at it and do it consistently and be successful, I mean it's an art to it.
Well, the problem is with me is I've did this I don't know how many times, and I guarantee I will still make the same mistake again. And I know in the heat of the moment, sometimes I'm willing to take a gamble. I know it's the wrong thing to do, but I'll take a gamble.
Yeah. Well, I think I do it every time I get out of the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I hunt a smaller pack than what you're hunting, and Ross and I just had this podcast. He's talking about his dogs working together. Like, and when I was listening to the podcast, I was like, I didn't even really bring that up, but I can have one or two dogs out of pocket, and my dogs get to going. I don't care where they're at; they go all end up together. But I'm hunting small. I'm hunting small packs, like
right.
And if I do have dogs get out of pocket that's on something, now that's a different story. But if they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, or they're just out lollygagging, somehow, some way, they find their way to the end. And sometimes it happened to me once this year. I had one of my gyps. I don't know what she was doing. She was way down in the holler on the creek, and the other dog struck and kind of paralleled in front of me, and then they cut up and went up top of the mountain and over the mountain, so they were out of hearing. And I could see her on the tracker. She was like 7/10 of a mile down below me. So the dogs went out here. So I'm trying to run down the AT and cut up to the top of the mountain so I can see what they're doing. I lost signal on them. And when I got up to the top of the mountain, she was sitting in there treed with them. And I'm like, well, where did you come? Like, how did you get there? Like, you were like way here and they're way over here. But yeah, she ended up there. So,
yeah, it's crazy. I won't get into this because I know we got to watch our time. But I've noticed my dogs. I hunt a pile of dogs, but it's interesting. My 10 or 12 I'm hunting other dogs for people at times. So the few dogs, my personal dogs, they'll go to each other. They'll listen to each other. When one dog rigs, they pay attention. When one dog finds the track, they'll go to it. You can have another dog of somebody's be blowing up, taking a deer across the ridge, and they could care less. And then, no, the problem is a lot of times if I do get another dog coming in and it actually is a good dog, and a lot of times that does happen, people send me really good dogs at times. But that dog the oddball dog might find the track out of there and mine won't honor it. It's interesting how they know each other that well. You don't think of that, but I mean, they know.
Yeah. My dogs looked like the fool when we were in Wisconsin last year up at Ross's, and I bring him up because it's exactly what, where I was at. But same thing. My dogs didn't want to honor his. They didn't even want to go check him.
Yeah.
It was the last day, like the 5th day that I hunted, that everything kind of started playing together. Like the first couple of days, it's like his dog would go this way, mine would go that way, and his dog would be trailing, and mine would be like, I don't want to play with y'all. Like I don't. And you're sitting there and you're scratching your head, going like, I know my dogs know what a bear track is. I know that they should run a tree, but they did everything to prove me wrong. I mean, they did. But again, it took about a week for that to.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm willing to come out and see what's going on here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is right. And I tell guys this, like you bring a new dog into your pack or you sell, like I let a buddy borrow one of my really good dogs, and the first day he took him out, like it was horrible. Couldn't catch him. He's seen him in the road twice, and he'd get out, and the dog was like, boom. And I'm like, that what? Like that dog?
Yeah.
And it took him about a week and a half, 2 weeks to kind of settle in with him, and then it was like, now he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. But dogs are funny for sure.
Yeah, they're amazing.
All right, before we end this, you put another post out. When was that? Yesterday? Day before yesterday?
I honestly, I can't remember. I tried to do a post today. That's what I've set a goal for myself. We'll see.
You're doing well. You're doing good at it. But anyway, you had a sow bear in a tree, and you said, well, I'll let you tell it because I didn't do it.
So yeah, I know what you're talking about now. So yeah, we was hunting one day, and long story short, we ended up getting a nice, healthy, fully legal. I was guessing her at like around 250 pounds.
Oh wow!
And no cubs. She was just a really nice sow bear, and we were just, far as the group of guys that's with me, we're just at all cost. I mean, it's got to be an extreme instance to get us to pull the trigger on a sow bear. And that was I was just getting people's opinions on how they handled treeing a nice, legal, sow bear that did not have no cubs. And then I didn't really get deep into it, but I don't even know if a lot of people understand the management side behind it on what you actually do when you take a really nice sow bear out of your area. Because what is the breeding age of a sow bear? 5 to
4. Yeah, but and this is according to the biologist. Okay, so I'm not saying you can Google it and research it, whatever you want to do. You want to, and I actually commented on this. You want to leave those sows that are 5 to 15 because those are your producing sows. Now again, there may be an injury, there may be something that particular sow's not producing. And you and I talked about, like, if we knew, like if I knew that this sow was past her prime, or this sow was, dry, like she can't have cubs, or like whatever, like it would be a lot easier to manage that part of it.
Right.
But 5 to 15 is where you want to kind of leave them. And I don't know if people really. Well, let me ask you this before we get into it too deep. What was the general consensus of that post? Like, what was your where was your comments at?
I mean, so it was pretty much everybody was wanting to leave a sow bear. You know, you had a few that said if it was a young kid in there or something like that. And I understand that. And a lot of it is, what would you say, not really terrain dependent, but it depends on your area and the density of bear in your area. But most people was on board with leaving it.
So if that's the consensus, and I generally and truly hope it is, especially for hound hunters, because taking boars does not hurt your population.
Right.
Harvesting sows does. And we'll get into that in just a minute about a lot of things that it affects. If that's the general consensus, why is the data that we have for the last 5 years say that hound hunters take there's a 1% difference in the sow harvest from hound hunters to all other methods? So let me put that in layman's terms. There's a 1% difference. We are taking 1% less sow harvest than all other methods.
So pretty much, I mean, I read the same stuff you was reading there, Heath. You know, as far as I know, we got the information sent straight to us, but it's, I think what, pretty much, I hate to say it, but we're killing just as many as everybody else. We're talking
according to the data, that's what it says.
Yeah. I hate to admit that as a hound hunter. Oh boy, that hurts my feelings to even say that. But in reality, the data says that we're killing just as many as everybody else.
Yeah, it does. And I'm like you, because most of the people around me are doing the same thing. Like, they're trying hard not to. Now, again, there's sometimes I thought it was a boar or vice versa or what, however.
Oh, yeah, stuff happens.
And like I said, you got to manage the population. Like, I'm not saying never kill a sow. I'm not at all. Like I said, if I could tell that sow was past her prime, or that sow was not able to have cubs, it would make my decision a whole lot easier if we wanted to harvest a bear. Like, it's hard to tell sometimes, but let's just get into that. So if you take a sow, you're taking especially if she is a mature sow that's raising cubs, when you harvest her from that area, not only do you lose her, but her cubs are going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? So when you harvest her cubs from last year, they're gone. They're moving. They're out of there. So she anchors that territory. Like, she's the anchor of that home range. And when you have sows in an area, they are going to stay in a specific home range. Like you said, you trade the same one a couple times. Same here. We treat the same couple sows a couple different times. Sometimes that was not our intentions at all. You know, we just ended up with them. So especially if we know, just like the sow with 2 cubs, we tried really hard to stay away from her. Like, we didn't want the dogs, catching them and running them, all the things that happen. But, like, we ended up training her twice.
Yeah.
So, it happens. But yeah, you're taking that OG per se out of that area, and when you take her, you're taking her cubs. And I think one of the articles that I read said that you could kill like 3, 4, 5 boar bears, and it wouldn't do as much damage as taking one sow. That's a mature sow that's having cubs. Okay, let's just make that clear. A mature sow that's having cubs.
Yeah.
And if you listen to a podcast that, I don't know if Clay Newcomb done it, or it was one that was Paul Laney was on. It's been a while back, but there was a biologist out of Maine, okay, a female, and she said that sows, of course, they teach their cubs. They had a sow that would never bring her cubs into a bait.
Really?
And they never killed them cubs, her cubs off baits ever. ever because she kept them away. So let's put this in a practical application for us. You got a sow that like keeps the cubs off the roads or keeps them out of the neighborhoods because of the danger. Like those sows are teaching those young bear how to survive and how to do things. So you may be causing more of a problem by letting them go rogue. That's what I'm trying to say. Like they go rogue than just letting them be. So for me, a lot of things go into factor. And like I said, I try to read, I try to research, I try to educate myself to make better decisions. So yeah, just some food for thought. Like I said, you take a sow from 5 to 15. You're taking a sow out of that home range and out of that area, and not only are you taking her, you're taking her cubs, and then you're taking a teacher basically because that's what she is.
Well, yeah, and the thing is and you're taking the your future, it takes so long to get them cubs built up. So when you take that sow, man, there goes her future the cubs that she possibly has with her. You got, what do they breed every 2 years? It might be a dry sow that year, but it's going to be bred that spring, that summer. Hopefully.
Yeah. And I mean, you and I talked about this, like, how do you get everybody on board? Well, everybody don't think the same. Everybody has different philosophies and different wants and whatever. And I want to talk about the kids because that comes up a lot. If I see a kid, if we got a kid with us, we'll let them take them. The only way we let a kid take a bear with us, and I don't care if it's a sow or a boar, is we got to see them more than once. They don't show up on Saturday with their daddy because I work with them, and then they kill a nice bear and you never lay eyes on them again.
Right.
Like, that's something that sets with us. So anyway, I wished everybody, especially as houndsmen, like we got to preserve, we got to be smart, we got to manage the population. That's why we have a harvest season. That's why the DWR gives us the opportunity to harvest bear. We've got to do that, but at the same time, we've got to kind of be on the conservation side too. Like, I want to be running 10 years from now, and the effects of what I do now are going to affect me in 5 and 10 years. Like,
absolutely.
And as I was younger, I didn't look at things that way. I think you and I talked about it. We've killed bear that shouldn't have been killed. We didn't kill bear that should have been killed.
Right.
And
right.
it's a hard balance. It's a hard balance to hit that happy medium. But I will say we're striving for it. We're not there, but we're definitely striving for it.
Well, I think I'm slowly seeing a little bit of a change, especially here local. There is a lot of and overall there's a lot of good houndsmen that put more emphasis on the dogs, the run, the hunt itself, and bringing the young people in and showing them the whole aspect of hunting, not just pulling the trigger. So hopefully our future is bright, especially get this mange out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll say these two things and we'll end this. If the end game is to harvest an animal, then our future endeavors are going to be short term. Like, it's not going to last. And as a trainer, if I have to harvest animals to get my dogs to perform, because a lot of people say, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, then I think it's like Willis Butall said, I think I need more dogs.
Yeah, that's the harsh truth.
It yes, one or two, and you and I had this conversation. You knock one down to them, and it's like, ooh, boy, like it knocks them up a notch. But I don't have to do 20. I don't have to do 30. I don't have whatever it is. Like, and again, if you're in a heavy populated area and you're trying to manage them, and you need to take whatever number a year, then that's fantastic. Like, there's areas that need that. There's areas here we can't hound hunt, and they're overpopulated. Like, yeah, they're overpopulated. But anyway, I don't know. That was a very interesting post, and I tried to read through a lot of the comments, and I got the same thing you did, that generally people would prefer to leave it. But again, statistically, by the data, that's not
We're
what's
not.
happening.
Yeah.
So, anything you want to leave us with? Thoughts?
No. I think we've went over it all. Covered it? I don't know. We'll never cover it. But yeah.
We rolled over it like a steamroller.
Yeah.
We'll have to come back and flatten her out tomorrow.
Right on.
It's going to be a wrap for this episode of Creekside Chronicles. We appreciate you spending your time with us, whether you're in the truck, in the woods, or sitting by the creek listening along. Thank you for walking this trail with us. And thank you to W Supply for hosting the podcast and supporting what we do. Be sure to check them out and go to wsupply.com for all of your hound needs. Until next time, keep your dogs fed right, your boots muddy, and we'll see you down the trail.
Tailgate drops before the light, coolers packed and the rig sitting right, tracking collars charged, beeping green, boots in the bed and the rifle's clean. Dog box rattling, engines hum, we're chasing bear till the day is done. Old ring barking like he knows what's near, nose to the wind, tail full of cheer. From the Virginia mountains to the Carolina clay, we're burning fuel and miles each day. Every turn's another tale, through mountain mist and paper trails. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fog in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York forest, Maine's deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bear. Rest stops few, the roads are long, but the fire in our hearts still burns strong. Wisconsin mornings cutting crisp and clear, Canada's wildwoods drawing near. Still got states we ain't run, but that hound dog fever won't let us quit. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fall in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York frost, Maine's deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bear. Gas station coffee, Alpha XL on the dash. Another back road, another bear track. Friends made fast and stories told slow. Under stars where only hunters go. We see the sunrise gold in Canadian air, and it sets on a trail down in Appalachia. Packing steel and leather, grit and care. We're built for the road and chasing bear. So load the dogs and slam the gate. There's a trail ahead, we won't be late. From dawn to dusk, we're always there. Chasing daylight, chasing them bears.